Marcus Oay was not born remarkable. He didn't enter the world with signs, certainty, or special promise. He was the middle child of a seamstress and a night shift security guard. His first desk was a kitchen table, worn wood, uneven legs. His first ambition was simple: to make his mother worry less when she looked at bills. He learned early that life does not wait for readiness. He graduated with decent grades, a part-time job, and a scholarship that barely covered one semester. It wasn't enough to feel secure, but it was enough to begin, so he began anyway. Marcus worked double shifts while taking 18 credits at a time, stretching every hour like it was currency. Days blurred into nights. He slept 4 hours and convinced himself it was discipline. But exhaustion doesn't care about discipline. It collects its debt quietly. In his second year, something inside him didn't explode. It eroded. Not all at once, not dramatically, just slowly, like pressure finding the smallest crack. He stopped going to class. Then he started skipping assignments. Then he started avoiding answers. He withdrew from 2 courses, then 3. By spring, he was no longer a student. He left college with a duffel bag and a silence that felt heavier than failure itself. A silence he couldn't translate to anyone who had never quietly fallen apart. The next 3 years were not a story people like to tell. There was no cinematic recovery, no inspirational montage, no sudden turning point. There were Tuesday mornings where getting dressed felt like negotiation. There were job applications that disappeared into nothing. No replies, just absence. There were nights he sat in dim light calculating how far behind he was. Not just financially, not just professionally, but in life itself. He worked at a print shop, standing for hours beside machines that never paused. Repetition without recognition. At night, he taught himself coding through free online courses. He didn't have a mentor. He didn't have structure. He had a screen, exhaustion, and a stubborn refusal to stop trying. Often he fell asleep mid-lesson, his head resting against the keyboard. 17 applications for a junior developer role went unanswered. 17 small moments of believing. 17 returns to silence. On the 18th attempt, something changed. Not because the world suddenly became kinder, but because persistence accidentally became visible. He got an interview. Then he got the job. It wasn't the job he imagined in his early optimism. It wasn't prestige. It wasn't a rival. It was a modest position at a company he had never heard of, doing work he barely felt qualified for a salary that didn't erase uncertainty. But Marcus didn't hesitate. He took it. Not with joy, not with confidence, but with something quieter. Continuation. Because when you are inside that phase of life, success doesn't feel like victory. It feels like the middle of something that might never end. No slogans, no motivational language, no promises of greatness. Just a reminder that existence itself is built on repetition, because the only day that truly guarantees nothing is the day you stop showing up. 2 years passed, then he moved to another company, then another, not dramatically, not in leaps, but in steps that only made sense when viewed backward. Then he built. At 31, Marcus co-founded a software firm that helped small manufacturers digitize their operations. Businesses like the ones where his father's friends had once quietly lost their livelihoods. The company didn't become a headline. It didn't become a unicorn. It didn't change the world in the way people usually expect stories to end. But it survived. It grew slowly, deliberately, responsibly. It employed 41 people who depended on it. It paid them fairly. It endured 3 economic downturns because Marcus had learned something: how to function without certainty, how to continue without motivation, how to build without applause. Success, when it finally came, did not feel like triumph. It felt ordinary. It felt like a Wednesday afternoon where nothing was on fire. It felt like opening your laptop and realizing you are no longer trying to escape your life. You are simply living it. It felt like showing up again, and one day realizing that again had quietly turned into enough. Marcus Oay's story is not remarkable because he defeated extraordinary obstacles. It is remarkable because he didn't need extraordinary obstacles to almost stop. Most people don't fall because life is dramatic. They fall because life is repetitive, because it is slow, because it is silent, because nothing seems to change, until suddenly everything feels too heavy to carry. Most lives are not built from turning points. They are built from returns, from waking up when you don't feel ready, from trying again after nothing happened, from falling, resting, and standing up one more time than you sat down. That is not inspiration. That is structure. That is survival. And that is, in the end, the whole thing.